Good morning. It is Sunday, February 22nd, and we are so happy to, I'm going to spotlight me, welcome Elizabeth Zibby Owens virtually to Macomb Solel Lakeside. She has written many books, but the book she's on tour for this year is On Being Jewish Now. And I'm going to have to Google how to make that come up right. So let me tell you a little bit about that book. It's an intimate and hopeful collection of meaningful, smart, funny, sad, emotional. I cried. I know I'm a crier, but I cried at half of the stories. I want to start crying now.
Oh,
And inspiring essays from, oh, let's let in this person, from today's authors and advocates about what it means to be Jewish after October 7th. Okay, now let's talk about Zibby. She is the best-selling author of Blank, which you should go out and buy, or at least take it out from our library. Um, a novel, Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, and children's book, Princess Charming. So this is something for everyone in your family. She is the founder and CEO of Zibby Media, and which includes a publishing house, an indie bookstore in Santa Monica. Oh, you're up early, Zibby, and we thank you. And the award-winning daily podcast, Totally Booked with Zibby, a book club retreats and the On Being Jewish Now platform. So that's enough for me. Zibby, please take it away.
thank you so much. And actually, my bookstore is in Santa Monica, but I am based full-time in New York, where I still have kids in school here. And then I go part-time in LA, which is where I live part of the time. My husband works out there. So anyway, it's complicated, but I'm not up early. I mean, I was
You're
up
not up
early.
early. That's the
I
main
was up
thing.
early, but not for that reason.
Not
I
for
was up
this.
early because I have a dog and kids and life, like I'm sure many of you have. So anyway, thank you for having me. Vanessa, I'm wondering when you start crying reading about this, tell me why. What is it evoking in you?
Great question. So, I'm a Jewish educator. I've been an educator for over 40 years. I grew up in a little small town with no other Jews. I feel like I could write a story. I could write a story for this because I related to and you had people from all different walks of life, and I have questions about that. Reform, Orthodox, men, women. And so I just related to them, being Jewish and um, I'm
Oh,
very passionate about what I do, and seeing all these people were so proud.
mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I mean, I'm sorry you're crying, but but I'm happy that you're crying in sort of recognition because I do feel so many people have felt seen by the essays in here, and there is such an opportunity for joy, and we are an amazing, proud people, and I wanted to spotlight that in the book, which is part of why I did it. So, happy to talk. I have a little presentation I can show as I go, sort of as background, and then I can answer any questions you like. But I'll share my
right,
screen, and crying is allowed. I cry all the time, so we can just share. I
right,
have tissues here. If you were
right,
here, we would be hugging. Okay.
right.
Um,
You can put your questions in the chat, and I'll be moderating, and we'll get to everybody.
okay. I'm gonna share my screen here, which hopefully you can see.
I can see.
Okay. Um, okay. So I wanted to give you a little background on me. Before October 7th, I grew up in New York City, Reform. This is my bat mitzvah picture. I had been hosting the podcast Totally Booked since 2018. And so I had interviewed thousands, hundreds. Now I've interviewed 2,300 authors. So by then, maybe it's part of that. I was about to go on tour for my novel Blank, which was coming out soon. I'm divorced and remarried. My second husband, Kyle, converted to Judaism. And FYI, my ex-husband's wife converted to Judaism, and I had 4 kids. So I feel I have contributed more to the Jewish people than probably anybody in my immediate family. So there we go. So that's just to set the scene. I was busy. I was doing my thing. I was happily trying to shout from the rooftops about my love of books and reading and writing. My first pen pal relationship with an author was when I was 10, when I wrote an author how much I loved her. And then after about a year or two of writing letters, she came to New York City and took me to tea at the Plaza. And I thought I mean, it was so amazing to be with a real author. So my relationship to books is longstanding, and that's what I had been focusing on before. When October 7th happened, this is sort of a fast forward this slide, but when October 7th happened, I immediately spoke out and posted on social media, which I had only joined in 2018. I posted in support of Israel. And I didn't realize, although I would still do the same thing today, I didn't realize that that would immediately be met with so much hate online, loss of followers, blah, blah, blah. People started then sort of immediately showing their true colors. My book, Blank, had not even come out yet, and people were calling me Zionist racist on Goodreads and giving me 1-star ratings for a book they couldn't even possibly have read. As all the negative stuff was happening, an author I knew named Allison Hammer suggested that we all get together and do some sort of auction to raise money for anti-Semitism. That became Artists Against Anti-Semitism, where there was a group of about 30 founding authors where we got donations and tried to make a difference in raising money. And mostly it was like, well, what on earth can we do? What can we do now? So at least we tried to do this. I started a group chat with all these authors, which became really important down the line. Meanwhile, I was with my company sponsoring the National Book Awards from the National Book Foundation, are basically like the Academy Awards of books. They're a very well-established thing. Years before I had been watching it literally here on my couch with a bowl of popcorn on YouTube because I thought it was so cool. The year after that, I had attended with my team, and it was just the neatest thing ever. And we were scheduled to all go back, bringing some of the authors we published. And I got wind from a friend that all the authors who were nominated for the National Book Awards were planning a pro-Palestinian collective action at the event, and I couldn't believe it. And I thought, that can't be right. Let me call the organizer and find out. And when I called the organizer, they said, yes, we've heard something's being planned. We don't know exactly what, but whatever happens, we believe in free speech. And so it is what it is, type of thing. And I said, well, I believe in free speech, but I don't believe in hate speech. And they were like, well, this is how we feel. And I said, so literally people could like get up and say, let's kill all the Jews, and you're not going to say anything. And they said, no, we wouldn't say anything. And I said, well, I can't be a part of this. So I pulled my sponsorship immediately without even thinking about it. Like, it was so obvious. And it was devastating. I remember sitting in my office with my whole team. There were about 12 of us there, and crying. We were all crying. One of my teammates, her brother is in the IDF, and my business partner is also Jewish. And it was just like, how could this be? How could this be? Meanwhile, my decision was leaked somewhere and became international news very quickly as a symbol of the conflict in the US. And if I thought I had hate before then, I was a victim to just so much hate after that. So that was lovely. So these are just some of the things. Yes. So after that, people were trying to boycott my podcast. Bookstores said they wouldn't carry the books that we published because of my stance on this issue, even though most of my authors aren't even Jewish. And I just had a lot of backlash, a lot of backlash. This is just one of the accounts. Somebody started a new Zionist account where they highlighted different authors. I was one of these people. I'm in here somewhere. I can't remember where. And so I continued here, wait, before I get to this, but basically I continued speaking out even though this was happening, because if I was going to be a symbol, I was going to use this to bring people together, continue to speak out. I feel if you can, you must. And I had a platform. I could use it. I could help, and I had to. So I continued on my book tour, because then my novel had come out. So I started touring all over the place, and someone would always take me aside at one of these events, usually a woman, usually with so much fear and sadness in her eyes, and just say, thank you. Thank you for speaking out. Thank you for saying something. Everyone in the aftermath, including me, we were, as you know, like scared, rattled, unsure what to do. And so, in that context, I just kept posting and speaking out and writing. And um, I would showcase the anti Semitic things that were happening in the industry. And actually, now I'm sort of at a point where I'm wondering how much is just pointing fingers at specific authors versus pointing out trends. So it's something I wrestle with today. But anyway, I spent the whole year speaking out, and I met so many amazing people too. While I was getting hate, I got connected with people all over the world in a way that, oh my gosh, all these blizzard warnings here in New York, in a way that introduced me and continues to introduce me, including all of you today, to Jewish people I never would have met, people I never would have met, who are like-minded in some ways and great, amazing people. So that's been a blessing. Anyway, it also came with a lot of frustration. And I remember meeting with a rabbi and saying, like, I don't get it. Like, I'm dedicating myself to trying to fight anti-Semitism. It's not working. And he just laughed at me. He was just like, you can't oh, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. You can't get rid of anti-Semitism. All you can do is bring your community together and make them stronger. You are not going to get rid of it after thousands of years of this pattern, but nice try. Anyway, a year after, it was almost a year, it was the summer of 2024. There had been another bad news day, and I was sitting on my couch freaking out. You know, it was a day I'm sure you don't even remember, in the midst of a million attacks, but a few kids had been killed in the north playing soccer. Anyway, it was that day, and I was just like, I just had it. Like, and I realized nothing I said myself was ever going to be enough. Nothing, as loud as I could scream, it wouldn't change anything. And so I thought, wait, I still have this group chat. And meanwhile, the authors in the Artists Against Anti-Semitism group chat and I had grown closer and closer. And it had been one of the things that emotionally had helped me get through this time of trauma and all the rest of shock and everything that was going on. Because they would share, they would say, my daughter was in the airport. Listen to what happened to her today. Or, can you believe this happened? Or, oh my gosh, this DM I got was so terrible. And then I could say what happened to me. And we were like a support group for each other. So I said, wait a minute, what if? And I had edited and published, not published myself, but edited two anthologies that had been published at that point called Moms Don't Have Time To and Moms Don't Have Time to Have Kids, which I wrote during COVID as a way to help people through that trauma. I guess I've realized about myself that when there's a time that people are in need, I try to step up and do so by collecting voices and creating a sense of community. And so I did it with COVID. And then I thought, wait, I know how to do this. And since then, I had launched my own publishing house. And I thought, wait, we can publish this. I mean, yes, we had our whole schedule, but we'll just have to find a way to slot this in. And it was June 30th. I emailed, I DM'd all the people in my chat and said, I have this idea. I want to publish a collection of essays called On Being Jewish Now. I want to donate all the profits to to Artists Against Anti-Semitism, which I did, and I want all of you to write essays. And I want to get lots of essays reflecting lots of different viewpoints. What do you think? Are you in? We're going to have it. I want to have it out by October 1st. And
which is unbelievable.
Which is unbelievably fast, yes, because it was essentially July 1st at that time, and books take forever. Even if it doesn't take forever to write them, it takes forever to publish them, which I know. And some of it is just the way the publishing world works in terms of distribution and sales conferences, and it's sort of an antiquated model, but it is the model in which we all have to operate. And so you need time, and you need time for the media to get excited about things. And there's like a whole rhythm to it that I was just saying, I don't care, this is coming out anyway. So I gave everybody, I think, 3 weeks to write an essay. I started emailing other people because the people in the chat were not enough to fill a whole anthology. They emailed some of their friends. I emailed tons of authors who I knew from the podcast. We asked about 200 people, and 75 said yes. And I gave them 3 weeks. I said, write an essay only you can tell as if you were going to coffee with a friend. Nothing political. What it means and how it feels to be Jewish now. And that's it. And so we got going. I got the essays in. I spent the summer editing them. I was supposed to write another novel. I ended up giving my advance back after writing 2 terrible drafts because all I was concerned with was this. And I would try to write my novel, and like suddenly my character, who was supposed to be having this like fun romance type thing. Like suddenly they were walking into a protest, and I was just like, I can't do this. I just can't do this. I'm not in the right headspace. And also, well, I'll fast forward to that. But once this came out, um, uh, the meaning that I felt from writing fiction changed. And I thought, this is what I had to do. So I ended up launching the collection on time. The ebook and audiobook came out October 1st, as I wanted. The print book came out November 1st. I ended up doing 100 plus events around the country. I'm still doing events. I love it. When we launched in LA at my bookstore, there was literally like this is one of my favorite moments I think in my life. I was getting ready for the launch event in the store, and I knew the event had sold out online, but a lot of our events sell out online and people don't always show up, and it's fine. And someone said, "Oh my gosh, Zibby, stop. You have to come see this." And I walked outside and the line was down the block. Down the block. I mean, I have goosebumps even thinking about it. All these people showing up and being there for each other. It was amazing. So luckily, we had got coverage in lots of places, and not just at the beginning, right? We kept at it. We're still keeping at it, getting like a Hanukkah feature and all sorts of things like that. At the same time, we launched the On Being Jewish Now Substack. So Vanessa, if you want to write that essay, we would love to publish your essay on what your
Uh-huh.
experience has been like. So
All right.
we were doing about 2 a week. Some weeks it's different, but you can go on the Substack and read what it's like in the now, not just what it was like then. And that
Yeah.
has been a
I'm
blessing.
impressed that you from Hadassah to Aish. I mean, wow. You just you covered everyone covered you.
Yes, it was amazing. And it continues to be amazing. Meanwhile, as this was happening, more bad stuff kept happening. So and I kept speaking out. So for instance, this thing with Diesel Bookstore, there was a bookstore which is right near my bookstore. Mine's in Santa Monica, this is in Brentwood, which are like neighborhoods in LA. And they posted a picture because they had prominently displayed a book about understanding Hamas and a whole table full of books in that vein. And two Jewish women came in and said, like, why is this on the counter? And they had sort of defended themselves, and it became a whole scandal. So I posted that morning and said, here I am around the corner, and I'm a Jewish bookstore owner, and I don't believe in showcasing this type of book and blah blah blah. So then people were like, let's boycott Diesel. And there was a whole rigmarole. It was covered in the Hollywood Reporter. And um, and then that was another opportunity for people on Twitter to just like crucify me, honestly, which has not been good. But I continued to do a million events with all of the anthology contributors, and there are 75 contributors. There are men, women, as you mentioned, different religious observance levels from Israel to the US to Australia. Gay Jewish people, a black Jewish man. I mean, 4 rabbis, authors, movie star. I mean, there's like a whole range of people united
It's
by what
amazing.
makes
It's
us.
absolutely amazing. And I read it and then I listened to it because some of the authors read their essays. You have to read it and listen to it.
Thank you. Well, it's been fun. And, as I said, I still got lots of positive comments. It hurts, but you were made for this moment, Zibby. Your platform, our community. We thought it was about books, but it's so much bigger than that. And that for me crystallized what I was doing and how even that summer when I was working on it and my kids were like, Mom, like get in the pool, whatever. And I was like, I am doing something that is going to be the most important thing I ever do in my entire life. And my husband was kind of like, honey, you don't know, like, it's okay. It might not. And I'm like, no, no, no. I cannot explain why, but this is it. This is the most important thing. And we ended up getting lots of brand partnerships, distribution everywhere. And then when things like this happened around the corner for me in New York City, where there were protests, and even one time where my kids were at home and I was out doing a book event, and there was a protest march basically literally outside my window, and they were terrified with their noses pressed to the glass, saying like, "Mom, come home, come home." And I was on the highway being like, "I'm on my way," and they were terrified with like police activations. I knew that even though all this stuff was happening, I was doing at least something. And of course, as we all know, there were no lack of things happening, and I could go into more of what's happened with the publishing industry and all of that. But as hate escalated, other people would promote the book and help more. Oh, this was some of the pictures from the line outside the bookstore when it happened. Oh, I also uh, uh, decided to become an associate producer on a documentary called October 8, which if you haven't seen, I would highly recommend. I'm also doing one called Poison Ivy, which is coming out soon. Some nice things happened. I started getting recognized for my work, which is not why I did it, but was lovely. And in the meantime, I just kept doing all the other things. I still have my daily podcast, my publishing, retreats, live events, and, everything else. Because what choice did I have? I had to keep speaking out. And so I traveled and I did everything. When author Elisa Albert was disinvited from a book festival because people called her a Zionist and didn't want to share the stage with her, I was like, come to my bookstore. And we did an event together. Um, I would write for, the New York Post or anywhere that wanted me. I had a little bit of a setback with the Palisades fire in California because this was our home here on the right with flames about to overtake it, even though on the left we had just been in the pool enjoying our vacation. And so I spent a while dedicating my time to helping the Palisades community. I did a clothing drive. I got 50 brands to help out and send clothes so that everybody who had lost their homes could at least have something pretty to think about. I gave books for free away at my bookstore to anybody in need. And then I ended up raising all the money to replace all the books lost at the 4 schools that were destroyed in the fires. But of course, as this was all going on, I continued to post whenever things would happen. So I would drive through this, which was what happened to our community in LA, and then I would host on Being Jewish Now, a live event which brought together all different types of Jewish people. And just continued to do more events with my amazing contributors. I launched a live podcast series, and now my podcast is on JBS, which is the Jewish Broadcasting Service Network, Thursdays at 7:30, so you can always watch that. And I continue to post when terrible things happen, and asking the questions that I feel we're all asking. Do I hide my star at the airport? I don't know. What do you think? Like, it depends on the thing. So we're still releasing essays when things happen, with the backlash, other setbacks that happen in life. And I was inspired. I was inspired to keep going. I share my story wherever I can. I also share stories from Jewish leaders on my podcast often. From rabbis to Eli Sharabi to Rabbi Elliot Cosgrove, Noah Tishby, Judy Bloom, all sorts of leaders in the community, and continue to share stories of all different types of authors. I continue to publish stories to make sense of our emotions in all the different ways and continue to reflect the Jewish experience. I'm motivated to see change. I was writing frantically around the high holidays to try to give advice on what I would want to hear in high holiday speeches. And so are all of our amazing contributors who are just total warriors. We had a pop-up in New York. We had a People of the Book section. We have a People of the Book section at Zibby's bookshop in Santa Monica, and try to sell books that make a difference. I lost my stepfather this year. There's more of the personal setbacks where we had our own Kaddish and all of that. And I just had to pick myself back up and thank all of the people in the Jewish community, even though I couldn't necessarily do all the events I wanted, but soon after I was back at it. And so I guess I ask myself, why am I doing all this? And I keep coming back to, how can I not do this? If you can, you must. I feel compelled to change. I jump at a chance to act with purpose. Never again is now. I often quote, to whom much is given, much is required. And I'm trying everything, and I continue to try everything through all the different events, roundups, essays, anything. What do I want to happen? I want to help inspire Jewish people to have more hope, to take more action, to connect people in the community, to set a path forward, to mobilize pride, to spark thought and conversation, put good in the world. I want to know that if and when things calm down or go back to normal, I did everything that I could do, and that I feel like I've made some sort of a difference by giving the people of the book more books. So my current Jewish goals, if you will, I still would like us to have some sort of leader, some sort of spokesperson, so that when things happen, it's not necessarily the head of the ADL or somebody like that, but somebody who we like perhaps vote on, or we elect, or we appoint the head of who says like, okay, this happened. Here's our statement. Here's how we feel. Um, I hope to, not that I can do this myself, but I really want to minimize the aggressive infighting I see among so many Jewish people, where politics divide us. And so then it turns to the views on Israel just dividing everybody. Personally, I'm trying to put more thought-provoking content into the world, and staying safe. I mean, my daughter at one point, I was going to speak out about somebody who was saying really terrible things about me, and the identity of this person, if I had shared it, would have been, I think, something that would have put me at risk. And my daughter was, and I was like, you have to speak out. My daughter was finally like, can't someone else's mom speak out? And so I didn't in that instance. So my primary goal is to be a good Jewish mom, and that's that. So thank you for having me. That's a that's the version, the short
That's the
version.
whirlwind.
That's the whirlwind
Okay.
of yeah.
So here come the questions.
So here I am.
Typical Christian anti-Semitism of Tucker Carlson. Oh my God. He wants us all to take a DNA test to be Ashkenazi. Did you see that? Yeah, that is recent. I don't know if Todd is referencing that. Todd, you can unmute and let us know. Um, Candace Owens and others, are you interested in publishing a book on Christian anti-Judaism?
No. I'm not. But
Yeah.
I could publish, so, I mean, we get pitched many books now in the same vein, and um, we we don't want to just keep putting out people's stories in response to October 7th. We could have a whole imprint devoted to that. And we thought about that. Should we spin off and have a whole, but ultimately, what is that doing? What is that accomplishing? So we want to share stories, yes, to connect, and I think we did so well with the I'm Being Jewish Now book. So we are very careful about what we publish next. I don't want to get mired in politics. I really don't. This to me is about bringing Jewish people together and by sharing stories. And there are so many viewpoints we could pick up, and I'm sort of turning away from that. But
Okay.
but yeah,
Bill Rosen wants to ask, what do you personally feel on being Jewish beyond what you have said?
yeah. What does it mean to me?
Yeah.
Um, well, for right now, as you can see, being Jewish to me means standing up for my community. It means doubling down in the values that I think make us who we are as a people, giving back, being kind, um, being using our intelligence for good, contributing, um, being thankful, um, keeping tikkun olam and tzedakah and all of the principles that underlie our faith in mind. It means continuing the traditions I've been doing, like observing Shabbat and all of that. It means raising proud, educated Jewish children, which is a huge priority of mine, and one
Huge.
which is going well. My kids, interestingly, after all of this, my older son, for example, who like never wanted to go to Hebrew school, is now proudly displaying a Jewish, like an Israeli flag in his dorm room, and plays for the Israel team in a lacrosse tournament, and he's all in. They're all in. My daughters wear Jewish Star Magen Davids, and we are that's one of the things is making sure that they know how to represent in future generations. It means um, yeah, it means sticking together and using my time and any resources um, that I can share with the world, to try to help us all get through this time and strengthen. It's really, I should have added this to the presentation. On Being Jewish Now is actually has been adapted as a play, as a performance, and we're touring. It's touring
Oh,
with an organization called The Braid in Northern and Southern California in March and April. So that's really fun. Other people have written a screenplay based on the book, so hopefully we'll have some fun movie news at some point. I just want to keep putting out people's stories in ways big and small to help us connect. And I hope that by doing events, even like this, where half the squares are black and I don't even know who's there, I just hope that my words maybe make somebody's day a little bit better or make people realize they're not alone and there's so many people in their shoes and that we are this incredibly dynamic, amazing community all over the world. And that
here.
anyway,
The Schubers.
sorry for rambling.
I unmuted you. Show your face. There.
Yes, no, I plan to show my
Yeah.
face. Um, I I'm frequently tech support for my parents. I'm in a little bit more chronic that they're one of them. But yeah, they told me, oh, there's a Jewish author speaking this morning and you can come set it up. And I'm like, and I'm setting up, it's Zibby Owens. Like it's not a random author, it's Zibby Owens. I've because I have followed you online and your podcast for many years and have my Kindle copy on
Oh,
being Jewish now. And um especially being like a little bit younger generation and being more online, like I saw, such a big shift post October 7th, like the next day it's pulling up Instagram and being like, oh, I need to unfollow 300 people.
yep.
And of course, like no brainer, like it is an automatic unfollow. And I think that's one of the things I've really appreciated about your work and on being Jewish and that it showed like, yes, the negatives, but also the more everydayness. Because obviously, like me unfollowing somebody is such a first world problem, like not the end of the world in this, but like it shows a much deeper issue. And I think your work has really filled a gap that's especially like for people in my generation, kind of like otherwise not as spoken about.
Thank you so
And
much for
so
saying that.
So thank you. And yeah, so just wanted to make sure to say
Oh.
that. And also like with on being Jewish now, I mean, I think I pulled it up and it's like, oh, I've read, 20 of these authors.
Hmm.
Because I do like what you said about Goodreads, I'm a prolific reader. And so I always like prioritize reading Jewish books because I want to be able to go in and give a positive review.
Yep.
Here. Yeah. For those who aren't on Goodreads, I'm also on Goodreads. The thought that people were, trying to tank your book before it came out is very upsetting. Um, and that's one thing that we can do as consumers and Jews in the pews that, we can read it, give it a good review, and talk about it, which we're doing this morning. And I think that October 7th, now I'm thinking, you said I can write an essay. Uh, a colleague of mine said it was Simchas Torah. And for Jewish educators, for Jewish professionals, Simchas Torah, the next week you take a break because you've been on since Rosh Hashanah. And with October 7th, we were driven into high gear. And, how am I going to educate about this? Who am I going to present? And I go to a Jewish camp in the summer. And I never thought that I'd have to talk about it 2 summers at
Hmm.
this Jewish camp. That on Shabbat we did a prayer for the hostages. It's still mind-boggling how long it went on. And I remember October 8th, my stomach in a knot, knowing about all the hostages, and then of course we saw all the graphic pictures. It's a lot. And it's a lot of trauma.
It really is. It really is.
Um, who was your biggest get? I mean, I also recognized a lot of the authors, and okay, I went to theirs first, but okay, that's okay.
Who was my biggest get? That's a good question. Um, I mean, I was happy Mark Feuerstein said yes because he's an
Yeah.
actor, but also had a big platform.
Yes.
And so I wanted, and he's also like the nicest guy. So anyway, I was happy to have him. Um,
Leahy Lapid.
Oh, Leahy Lapid. Actually, I ended up publishing a book of hers after that, which is
Which
so,
one?
it's called I Wanted to Be Wonderful.
Oh,
And you should have her come talk. She's amazing.
yeah.
Leahy Lapid was great. That was one of my favorite essays in the collection. Um,
I like.
Rabbi Sharon Brous, who's like,
Oh, yeah, that was also great.
um, I mean, they were all, it was all
They're all,
exciting. It was all
yeah,
exciting
yeah.
for very different reasons.
Um, who turned you down? And, I can imagine it could have been a matter of time, like, oh, I can't do this so fast.
I don't think I should say who said no
Okay,
because a
what
lot
type
of
of,
people said no because they didn't want their names attached to this project at all. Um, some people were scared it was going to hurt their careers too much and they couldn't afford to take that chance.
hmm, hmm,
Um, uh, a lot of people have regretted it. I've had a lot of people, um, you know, we
good.
we were on the USA Today bestseller list for more than 20 weeks, and it's become
Yeah,
a whole thing. And
yeah.
there are two people in particular who just, they've tried to do all these things to kind of make up for it, and they're like, "I'm so sorry." And then like somebody, I guess I can say this, Rabbi Elliot Cosgrove, when I interviewed him about his book, he was like, "Gosh, I wish you'd thought to ask me." And I was like, "I did ask you. Your publicist said no." And he was like, "What?" And the publicist had
Yeah.
never even told him.
I,
So,
I'm not surprised. He's hard to get a hold of.
but anyway, yeah, it
Um,
is what it is. And then like, Noah Tishby and Mitch Albom couldn't do it, but they both blurbed the book.
oh,
It was a
okay.
very, it was a, it was a quick turnaround. And one time I presented this to younger kids and they were like, 3 weeks. It doesn't take us 3 weeks to write an essay.
Yeah.
I'm like, exactly. What is the big deal? It takes me like an hour. So, yeah, but a lot of authors said no, or like if they wrote fiction, they were like, we don't really write essays as well. So they said no. Yeah. So probably half were worried about reputational risk, um,
Interesting.
or lack of safety as a result.
Have you felt that lack of safety?
Um, yes and no. Uh, I don't, I continue to make decisions on what to attend and what not to attend based on what's going on in the world at that time. And
Mm.
in general, I don't join giant crowds. I mean, I wouldn't do that regardless because I don't like being in giant crowds, but um, uh, I don't know. I don't want to jinx anything,
Yeah.
but I do have, a guy I send all the random threats to, but they have never been like, I'm gonna come to your house and kill you or something, God willing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's mostly, and when I find out, it ends up mostly being trolls. They're just like random people from their basements and God knows where. So
Yeah.
um I feel that there has definitely been a concerted effort to try to really harm my career. That's for sure. Um,
Wow.
uh, which is still, I mean, Vulture from New York Magazine, they were one of the first people to write a huge profile about me in 2018, 2019, calling me New York City's most powerful bookfluencer and writing all these great things. I'm the next Oprah, blah, blah, blah. And this year, um, for their things to do in 2026, it was cancel Zibby Owens. And I'm like, thank you for that.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
It's a roller coaster.
it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster, but I'm honored to be on it.
Right.
And
I don't know. I subscribe to a lot of the things that you do. I can't say all because you do so many things. And I'm just blown away at all the things you do and what you can accomplish. So
thank you.
yeah, keep going.
Thank you.
2026 is going to be great.
Thank you. I had I read a horoscope recently because I like to read the horoscopes in the New York Post to my kids on our way to school. Anyway, I was feeling really down because somebody had done something really mean. And anyway, it was just like one of those days. And then I read the horoscope and it said something like, you know what? People are going to try to bring you down, but the real winners in life respect what you're doing, focus on that. And so that is how I feel. The people who get it are the people I care about
Mhm.
anyway. And
Yeah.
I'll just keep going.
I was describing the book as delightful because you all could, everybody here, it's in snippets. It's just accessible to everyone. And the subject matter is not, it's not, oh, it's delightful, but this book is so important and uh, so meaningful. And I'm glad that you were able to get some of these people and the authors you have in here, and you can tell them that, that makes me want to read their books more.
Good, good.
Yeah. We've read a Lisa Barr book. I've read, and I have a book club, so we can do those books.
Amazing. I do
Bill
have a new
Rose,
book. I have a new book coming out this summer that I haven't
wow.
announced yet.
Can you tell us about it?
It'll be out on August 19th, and it's more in the memoir side of things, but I won't say any more than that.
Okay. Oh, well,
But stay tuned. I'll
yeah.
stay tuned.
I look forward to all of that. It's just so important. Bill Rosen says, Zibby, kudos to you for being true to yourself and your
Thank
beliefs.
you. Thank you.
And I think during this time, everything is just fraught with I don't know what, but even as we send out things from the synagogue, we're very careful about how we do it and the wording and what we say and who we put this out to. And, our rabbis have a free pulpit. They can say what they want, and occasionally, someone will say, I don't like this or I don't like that. And I think it's important to have that free speech component. And I especially like, you're really basing it on Jewish values and those things which are, for the Jewish people. And, you know, sometimes our kids, I'm looking at Maddie, our kids come to us and, uh, why can't we be universalists? And it's not that we can't, but we still have to we have to stay for ourselves. So you go on the airplane a lot. Do you wear your Jewish star? I was just in Israel. I just got a new one. And I'm flying this week to see my grandkids, and I've never thought about it this much. Never, ever.
I mean, I wear it, but and some I don't even think about it. I wear it every day,
Yeah,
but do I take it at like sometimes I have to make an effort depending on what I'm wearing to
yeah,
actually like take it out and show it.
right.
So uh occasionally if I'm feeling like I'm in a crowd that's not feeling good and my hackles go up, I'll tuck it in. But only then. Otherwise, it's pretty much out. And Brenda is wondering if any of my children are writers. Um, I would say my two younger kids have a lot of potential, but they're still 11 and 12. But the older kids, no, not at all.
Maddie, go ahead.
And I think the book space is one like I grew up in a very Jewish area, and so it's not like I grew up seeing a lot of anti-Semitism, and obviously as an adult knowing it existed, but just being exposed to it in an entirely different way post October 7th. And like with the spaces I'm in, I do think the book space has been one of the worst
Yeah,
by far, like seeing it online. And, I never thought, oh, with every book release, I'm going to have to check, well, what has not only the author said, but like what have the narrators for the audiobook said?
exactly.
And
Well,
uh,
that's like an example, Maddie. Like, do I post? I put in stories a few times about there's a new recent scandal of an author whose audiobook narrator is highly
I think I know
anti-Semitic.
exactly which one
Yeah.
you're talking about because I canceled my
I'm
pre-order.
glad you brought it up. That's a great thing for you to answer.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, how much attention do I give to people who, like, do I want to share my airspace
Hmm.
with that? Like, yes, I want people to know, how much do I want to try to like sabotage someone else's? I mean, I want people to know. I don't know. I guess it's just always a question. How much to,
No, it's so tough because it's like, how much are you like fanning the flames of it? Because they're not
exactly.
going to change the narrator. Like they've committed with their whole, they knew who that person was and they committed completely to it. So it doesn't feel like you're going to change their mind. So like it is, like you said, important for people to know because without social media, I don't think I would have found out. I'm not,
Yeah. Yeah.
professional in that space. But because for a lot of people, like in 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 the Jewish spaces, it still really does matter. And there's no way I thought, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, that I'd be sitting here like researching every narrator, every author, and it does, like you said, there's the negative side and the positive side of like it's made me seek out Jewish authors. I always read Jewish authors, but it's made me seek them out like more wholeheartedly than ever before to want to offer that support. Because like with the review bombs on Goodreads and other platforms, it's it's not even just, oh, you're writing about Israel or you're writing about really being Jewish. It's like you wrote a romance novel with one
Exactly.
Jewish character
Yep.
and still get review bombed. So
Yep.
it's just a space that like I think you're one of the people speaking up the most in this space, and I think it really needs it.
It does. You know,
Are you
interestingly,
gonna research your next narrator?
am I?
Yeah.
I've narrated all my own books except for one.
Oh, okay.
And I wish I had, but my publisher at the time was like, "We're going to come back to you with suggestions. Here's the one." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess I have to say yes." Um, uh, yes, I would be incredibly careful. I'm incredibly careful now when I pick my podcast guests.
Mm,
Even now, unfortunately, with like I do a big most anticipated list every year, or not every year, every quarter, because I have to do it anyway when I buy books for the bookstore. So, and when I plan my podcast. So anyway, I do a bigger list than I can even necessarily sometimes have on my podcast. But um, it turns out a lot of those people who I thought I had vetted end up being part of the group that is like, we would never come on your podcast because of your views, which
mm.
sometimes you can't tell from what people post. So then I say, okay, well, do I take them off my most anticipated list when they're like trying to boycott me and making that obvious? And P.S., there are a couple Jewish authors who have very different views. And so sometimes I
Mhm.
see people supporting those authors and I'm like, yeah, they're Jewish, but like you should see what they wrote me. But I don't know. I could spend my whole life throwing other people under the bus, but that's just not how I choose to spend my time.
Yeah. Um, oh, what has been the response from non-Jews?
A lot of non-Jews have been so encouraging, supportive, amazing. At most events, I have one or two non-Jewish people there who come to learn. Uh, it's been they thank me for helping them understand what it is even like for us. Um, so it's been really, really positive, really positive. Where will the recording be located of this presentation? I have no idea.
Uh, it's on our YouTube channel, and Richard, I'll send you the link after. I have to, push it up to YouTube, so it won't be till tomorrow. Are your books available on audio and large print?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
they are.
So,
And I
yeah.
know blank is available in large print because I got a few copies, and that was nice because I could take my glasses off.
We're wrapping up here. Does anyone else have any other questions? What a great morning. I do want to say, I think this, book gives us, even though I cried a lot, it gives us hope. It gives us hope. And what is resonating with me, what you said just recently is, we're not alone. After October 7th, a lot of people joined the synagogue. People want to be a part of something bigger, and people don't want to be alone. I
Hmm.
truly believe that. And, we're here for you, and we'll get this recording up. Thank you. Blair says, thank you for inspiring and informative conversation.
Aw, thank
And
you.
I did see, I'm not going to call you out, a few people who, came in late, but the recording will be available tomorrow, and then you can see what you missed.
Gosh, I hope I didn't say anything bad now that I'm like recording on YouTube. What did I say?
Well, here's the thing. It'll be really interesting because I am going to post your name and see, if that, brings in people or, occasionally I have people, oh, I need your notes. We're going to do this book at our synagogue. It's usually Jewish people. I haven't had any haters yet, but
You're not going to have any haters. YouTube is a very big place.
yes,
It will be
very
a
good.
drop in the bucket and no one will notice my name. So not to worry. But thank you so much for having me. This has been
Thank
lovely.
you so much for coming. I hope you don't have a bad snowstorm. We've
Oh,
also seen all of the.
also it's already snowing out here, so I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I've
All right.
stocked up on Fruit Loops and Nutella, so I think my kids will be okay. So
Very excellent. You're the best mom. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And
thank you.
we're off next week. And then the week, March 8th, is the ACLU. You don't want to miss that. That'll be in person, Lox and Bagels at 12:30. Who could pass up Lox and Bagels? Bye.
Bye.